So, I have had the unique privilege of watching the first 6 episodes of Star Trek Picard Season 3 before they air. Thank you very much to Terry Matalas and Paramount for setting this up. So, I want to go ahead now and give you my verdict on these 6 episodes.
Sorry, Dave, not interested. You've sold out. Clearly getting early access has made you a shill for Paramount. You've lost all credibility. Unsubbed. Goodbye.
Before I begin, I want to say this is not the first time I've received early access for review. In my old tech review days, companies would sometimes send me products to review. There had been a couple of occasions, not many, in which I had given a bad review about a product, even though it had been sent to me as an early access review model. There was one such time when it actually ended my professional relationship with that company. They were not very happy with me. But I had to be honest, because it takes a long time to build credibility, integrity, and a personal brand as a reviewer or commentator. Once you've lost the trust of your audience, you don't have much left. When someone does you a favor and you get a freebie, it's very hard then to be super critical. You kind of feel obliged to be nice and say nice things. It's human nature. And as a result, you can become compromised because you are no longer unbiased. But thankfully, I don't have to worry about that because I have very positive things to say about these first 6 episodes of Star Trek Picard Season 3. Now, there's probably some of you in the comments who are already typing saying things like, Dave, I'm out, I've had enough, I hated the first 2 seasons, the fans have been badly treated, I'm not watching this. Or you might say, it's too little too late. And the issue is, after 2 really poor seasons of Star Trek Picard, it's entirely understandable that people are jaded and disinterested with this 3rd season, and I have a lot of sympathy and even empathy for that position. Now, I'm going to say very positive things about this season. My belief is that it's a very significant improvement over the first 2 seasons, and a beautiful tribute to Star Trek's legacy and to the fans. It is a really good time, and some excellent television and wonderful science fiction. I also have several complaints that I have not heard anyone else level at this season because it isn't perfect, and I will be bringing up these issues with some of these episodes as well. So yeah, there's some negative stuff too, but nothing insurmountable. There's nothing so bad that it would negatively impact your enjoyment of this season. And I also want to say to many of you who are rightfully justified in being skeptical due to the regrettable creative decisions the franchise has taken in recent years, please keep the following in mind. I am simply giving you my verdict. You don't have to believe me. I may not be able to convince you to watch it. However, and this is a promise from me to you, in the coming weeks and months, as this 3rd season of Picard airs, and after it's all over, I assure you, you will see people on social media and in comment sections. You will hear from perhaps friends, co-workers, family, whatever. You will hear from them about how good this season is. So you don't have to take it from me. What I'm saying is, just give it time. Just wait. And if you don't want to watch the rest of this video, you can turn it off now. That's no problem. Just remember this. You will hear from other people, eventually, who didn't get early access, about how great this season is. How much of an improvement it is. How great the story is. How engaging and enjoyable it is. Whether you watch it or not, this is what you will hear. I guarantee you this. And you can take that to the bank. And finally, I wasn't paid to say any of this. So, with that preamble out of the way, these first 6 episodes held my attention throughout. Yes, Terry Matalas did work on Season 2, but he was not in charge as showrunner. But this season, he is. He's the showrunner and he gets to determine the course of the main plot and everything about it. And you can see that he is absolutely one of us in terms of his fandom and his love of Star Trek. There are so many deep canonical tie-ins and references and callbacks and clever uses of canon and continuity, old and new characters, a lot of surprises, some epic battles, a genuinely intriguing mystery, very suspenseful, and it's also a very existential and captivating threat regarding the future of the Federation. Now, a question I've been asked several times over the past number of days is, do you need to have watched seasons 1 and 2 of Star Trek Picard before you watch season 3? The answer to that question, as far as I'm concerned, is no. You can jump straight into season 3 without any problems. There are some minor references made to events in season 1, but it's pretty small stuff overall. You can enjoy this season on its own in isolation. Now, on the day I received these 6 screeners to watch, that night I was supposed to go to bed early because I had an early start the following morning. But after I watched the first episode, I couldn't stop there. I just had to keep watching them. And I ended up finally going to sleep around 2 in the morning. That gives you some indication. Okay, that's the best compliment I can pay Terry Matalas and his team. I had to see what happened next. The plot and the excellent pacing definitely hooks you in. This show feels like the greatest hits of Star Trek. So, to get a few concerns out of the way first, yes, Picard still has his synthetic body, which is a problem that Terry Matalas has effectively inherited from season 1. It was a very silly choice by the writers and producers in that first season, but the way in which it's addressed in season 3 sort of downplays it to such a degree that I was able to get past it because it was sort of written off like it's kind of a cosmetic surgery in essence. And it's clearly stated that this is the same Jean-Luc Picard that we know and love. Also, Patrick Stewart really is back as Picard, albeit more of an elder statesman at this point, obviously. It's important to say that every character gets a lot to do and a meaningful arc, and that life has gotten very serious for this next generation crew, and things have moved on for them. The season pays homage to a lot of important Star Trek moments, while also tying up loose ends and paying off a lot of things. Now, people had concerns also about Worf being a pacifist from what they saw in the trailers. I can assure you, this is kind of played more as a character gag, because he aspires to be more mature and grounded, but in reality, he is just the same hardcore Klingon warrior that he ever was. I also believe that the trailers really don't do the season justice because there's a huge amount of context for both characters and situations that has been omitted in the trailers, giving you at times a false impression of what's going on and what certain characters are actually talking about. I'll now move on to my complaints about season 3, and I'm not going to softball it here, by the way. I'm not happy with the fact that there is still swearing on the show. Okay, I know there was some profanity in some of the movies, but it was generally mild enough, and there was maybe one per movie. In the case of Generations, Data had a line that was played for laughs. Now, there is less swearing in Season 3 than in comparison to Season 1, for example, but there is an F-bomb in one of the episodes in Season 3, and that was very disappointing. However, I do know for a fact that it was an improv by the actor and not in the original script. But regardless, it's totally unnecessary, it's out of place, it doesn't suit Star Trek. And you can call me outdated, traditionalist, fuddy-duddy, whatever, but it's not really suitable for a Star Trek TV show. And it's perhaps an unfortunate sign of the times we're living in that more explicit language has crept into TV shows that previously would never have had it. And I don't think it adds anything. Star Trek, to me, should be a wholesome family show, and I think standards have dropped in this regard. But this issue doesn't detract from my enjoyment of the season. Also, in the first 2 episodes of this season, Raffi's mission feels a little bit drawn out in places before it finally starts going somewhere. I also was a little disturbed by one particular scene where she has to do something she doesn't want to, something that she was trying to put behind her. Again, I have to be vague. I didn't like that. I found it cruel, and again, not particularly family-friendly Star Trek. But other than that, I will say that the character of Raffi, played by Michelle Hurd, is genuinely likable this season. The writing for the character is way better, and when Michelle Hurd is given good stuff to do, she really shines as a quality actress. And this season, she teams up with a TNG regular cast member, and they have fantastic chemistry together. But anyway, those are my main complaints. Like I say, nothing too major that would stop you from enjoying the season. So anyway, back to the good stuff. The first 4 episodes really pull you into the story. I think episode 4 has a very dramatic, visually stunning and emotional ending that is very Star Trek in terms of seeking out new life. Also, this is a great season for Riker fans. Jonathan Frakes is given the very best material he's ever had to work with for his character, both emotionally with respect to Riker's personal life, but also his professional life, giving us the Captain Riker we always wanted to see. Captain Shaw, a new character played by Todd Stashwick, is a great foil for the other characters because he's a real hard-ass captain. He's not a fan of Picard and Riker, and he offers a totally different point of view for the audience to consider, and he really grows on you as the season progresses. I can also put people's minds at ease with respect to the character of Vadic. She's not a Khan or General Chang style villain. She's not what you think, and the primary threat of the season is not based on a revenge story arc, despite what the trailers might mislead you into thinking. The primary threat this season is huge. And I think it's a real paranoia thriller that people are really going to like. Episode 5 was my favorite. This is the episode where you get a major revelation about the scope and scale of the existential threat facing the Federation. Just a couple of things I want to point out about episode 6, and again, I'm not giving any specific plot breakdowns about any of the episodes, but there's a callback to an original series movie, and there's a wonderful addition that they make to canon. And again, the fans will just geek out about this. And separately to that, we get another callback with Riker to Encounter at Farpoint. And of course, as we know from the trailers, Brent Spiner returns once again to play a Soong-type android. And so you're going to get an explanation as to what this character is all about. That's all I'm saying. Every character feels very self-aware. These characters feel very three-dimensional to me. They reflect on their choices and the things they say. People apologize to each other. People try to redeem themselves. There's quite a bit of that in these episodes. And there's also, I have to say, great chemistry between the cast, especially between the characters of Picard and Riker. You get a very strong sense of camaraderie between these two old Starfleet officers, pushing each other, working together. It's wonderful to watch. Now, I have no idea how all of this is going to play out. After 6 episodes, it feels like there's a huge amount of story and material to follow, and probably some very big surprises ahead. I get the impression there's going to be some shocking reveals, leading to probably a massive conclusion. And I can say also, because of the quality of the writing, and because it's been very consistently high for these 6 episodes, there's no reason that I can see that this trend wouldn't continue for the final 4 episodes. I see no reason why the rest of the season won't also be great. Now, finally, this is not a return to Berman-era Star Trek, which some people have said. This is an entirely new thing of its own, and that's, I think, the way it should be. If the franchise is to really continue to grow, it has to change and evolve. This is Metalis-era Star Trek, and I think he's done a hell of a job. I'm a tough critic. I'm not someone who's easily pleased, and I have no problem with being described as a nitpicker. But hey, if you're not a nitpicker, you can hardly call yourself a Star Trek fan. Overall, I would watch these 6 episodes again. I cannot say the same for the first 2 seasons. For those doubters out there who are still not sold on what I've said in this video, please understand one thing.
But you have not seen what I've seen.
I have seen my share.
You have not seen what I have seen.
You have not seen what I have seen, and what I've seen from these first 6 episodes is really good Star Trek. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.